Your Highness has arrived. Hey, what's up? Hey, I thought you was hanging Santa Cambodia. Look at this. Yeah, man. Come on, man.
First time?
Yeah.
Fucking shit, the smoking timeline is lit all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner. Holy fucking cow, the smoking timeline is all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner.
All of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
Fucking shit, the smoking timeline is lit all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner. Holy fucking cow, the smoking timeline is all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner.
All of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
Fucking shit, the smoking timeline is lit all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner. Holy fucking cow, the smoking timeline is all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner.
All of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
Oh, welcome. It is indeed tiresome. Very tiresome. Heyo, Bateman.
Holy fucking shit, the smoking timeline is lit all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner. Holy fucking cow, the smoking timeline is all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner.
All of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
Holy fucking shit, the smoking timeline is lit all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner. Holy fucking cow, the smoking timeline is all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner.
All of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
Holy fucking shit, the smoking timeline is lit all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner. Holy fucking cow, the smoking timeline is all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner.
All of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
Oh, we're there. We're there. OCG's sitting on my lap. He just freaked out. He hates when I talk. He'll probably run away here in a second. Welcome back to the Cider House today on Friday, kind of spontaneously. Hello, World Champions, YouTube, Rumble, Pilled, and X'd. And I was right. He just bounced. He just bounced here today with me. Wrong button. Jack Kentner still living remote in the jungles of the Democratic People's Republic of the Congo. How's life in the Congo, Jack Kentner?
It's been pretty hot, but other than that, it's been pretty nice. Nice to see you all again, world champions.
I see
We have
your
a great episode for you.
I don't know the full details of the operation you're running there, but I understand your main goal is from 5,000 years from now, you want your tomb to be dug up and create some sort of racial controversy over the genes of the pharaohs of the dynasty you're about to form. Is that true? You're going to be Ramses the Third.
Perhaps I am.
Today's show's casual. As you can tell, we are still in the temporary studio. As somewhat expected, hoping it wasn't going to happen, but it did happen, was that we had some code issues, added another week to it. So we are now expecting to do the first live show from the new studio about 1 week from today, from Sunday, actually, technically. Are you going to be back here by then, Jack? When are you coming back from the Congo, man?
I should be there if not next week, then the week after that. So give me around like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here. Very cool. Today we are going to talk about, voting. Voting. And what I figured I'd do, if it's cool with you, Jack, is start off with the history of the evolution of the criteria for an American voter. And we're going to hit those major milestones. So if you didn't know already, the voting rules were a little different in the 1700s, 1800s, you get the idea. Second hour, if not earlier, we will talk about what it's like being a voter in the age of corruption, fraud, and propaganda. And we both fall into that category, Jack. Mm-hmm. We are voters in the age of corruption and propaganda and a bunch of other bullshit. Before I jump into this list, though, what's going on, chat? What is going on, chat? I see Serb right there at the top celebrating his 6-month channel membership badge. He's now white. Congratulations. I know you wanted that. Maddie England is hard Emming. Welcome, hard M's. Pictish saying hello over there on Rumble to all the world champions. LB Bork. Voting is a crime, you know. It's a crime. It's a crime. I can't read and do two things at once. Spanky, welcome back. William Maines, welcome back. I hope I have a mural for the studio in my future. Chosimba one. Welcome. Leave me the fuck alone. Welcome. I regret having but one thumb to give up. It's all good. It's all good. Did I miss anybody? Jeremy Carroll, welcome back. Circle Jerk, nice to see you as always. Thank you for abandoning your fuck, John.
I'm not sure if me saying that I slaughter prostitutes is a compliment or
Jack slaughters prostitutes. That's become a running meme with you already. That's because of your
Jack the Ripper.
Your Zen-like killer autist vibe. I like it. I like hanging out with it. I got your real red hat for you, by the way, whenever you come back, but you can enjoy that maroon one a little bit longer. So, chat, good to see you. Chat, Marie LaRue, welcome back. Jack Dawes, welcome back. Let's just get into it here. Timeline of voting rights in the United States. Of course, this doesn't extend any further back than, 1776 or so. For obvious reasons, there was no United States. So at the very beginning, 1789, and that is again the Constitution, before that was the Articles of Confederation, recognizes that the states have the power to set voting requirements. States allowed free black men to vote. New Jersey, a few states, I'm sorry. That's not the main point here. The main point here, I think I have my wrong list. This is too detailed. This is the detailed list, Jack. Hold on.
You're the one that set this up.
I know. I was like, yeah, we'll do one more casual unannounced show today. Why not? And then.
But yeah, you sent me the Carnegie link, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I meant to do. I think that's this. Is that this?
Yeah. No. That one seems a little bit more detailed from what you gave me, but is it right?
This might be so there's the key point. 1789, most states limited voting to white male landowners. That was the initial voting block of the United States of America. You had to be white, you had to be male, and you had to own land.
Yeah. I will say this, a lot of people when they say you need to own land, they kind of exaggerate what that entails, because there were property requirements, but property was a broad term at the time that encompassed more than land.
I don't know. So yeah,
owning U.S. bonds, for example, was enough to vote.
So owning bonds, you said, was enough to vote?
Yeah, it should be.
That didn't really last that long anyway. This is the one you're talking about.
Yeah, that one.
1700s, voting generally limited to white property holders. There you go. This is what they all looked like. Just statements of fact. This stuff is pretty left-leaning when I was reading it earlier, so I might kind of skip most of that. But anyway, yes, the Constitution, 1789, left it open to the states. And the state said white males who owned property. 1800s, the barriers start to recede. Happens a little earlier than that, but early part of the 19th century, which is the 1800s, state legislators began to limit the property requirement for voting. So the first thing to go is property owner. During the Reconstruction period following the Civil War, Congress passed the 15th Amendment to the Constitution, which ensured that people could not be denied the right to vote because of their race. So that's the next one, the race. 15th Amendment, ratified in 1870. So we've already jumped about 100 years. So roughly, I know I'm generalizing, 100 years of white male landowners, and then they say you don't need to own property. I should say property, not land, like you said. Property owners, and then the white part stops becoming important also. Still important, though. Male. I find that hilarious. They're like, all right, let the poor people vote. All right, let the minorities vote. Women? No. No, that would take some more time. 1920. The suffragettes. Hilariously, most women were against this, but 1920, the last male part of that initial 1700s, what constitutes an American voter? Out the window. Now it's everybody. I guess in a sense, though, at least on paper, it still means Americans, right?
Yeah. John, you remember that one Family Guy skit where they have suffragettes say the importance of voting, and they say to vote for Warren G. Harding because he's a total hottie? Was that actually is that actually somewhat factually true? Like, did women just simply vote for Warren G. Harding because he was hot, or they thought he was hot?
I don't know. I would totally believe it given what I see today. Yeah. Yeah. I think in a way, maybe we're being bigoted here, but maybe the idea of that's a whole conversation, isn't it? Like the criteria people use to vote. What do they care about? Well, that's obviously changing as you change the voter itself. And maybe that's worth thinking about for a second. Was there some sort of attempt to make these white male property owners vote the way that the corrupt people wanted them to, and then they realized this is the wrong demographic of voters? We need to change the voters rather than try to convince somebody. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, you could also make the argument, though, that during these initial phases of the country, it was very much important to have people who were actually invested in its success to be the ones voting instead of anyone just coming in and just voting to empower themselves. We might get into this later, but there are some inherent flaws with democracy that people in the mainstream don't really like to acknowledge.
There's going to be a lot to talk about. I'm just laughing how stupid all this is. The next major timeline I sort of have is like they're saying in the 1960s, they eliminated the poll tax, which in my head I understand essentially as the first Costco membership. So they once they weren't allowed to discriminate against people based on property ownership or race or gender, they made it prohibitively expensive to vote. That was the indirect way to unofficially still sort of have more 1700s-esque type voters who, like you said, have a little bit of skin in the game. 1965, LBJ, the Voting Rights Act, I'm sorry. And that's where I do want to go to that other link, I think. Not quite there. The Voting Rights Act, bang. Despite the ratification of the 15th Amendment in 1870, African Americans in the South faced tremendous obstacles to voting. They couldn't get voter IDs, those racist DMVs. Very few African Americans were registered voters, and they had very little, if any, political power. LBJ, flamacious Democrat, goes, I have an idea. And here we fucking are. Before there were Mexican immigrant voters, there was LBJ and this stroke of genius. Is, I see a bunch of disenfranchised people that we beat up, the Democrat, that we formed a KKK and beat the crap out of them. Now let's go be their savior. Right? The Voting Rights Act of 1965 aimed to increase the number of people registered to vote in areas where there was a record of previous discrimination. The legislation outlawed literacy tests and provided for the appointment of federal examiners with the power to register qualified citizens to vote. In certain jurisdictions with a history of voting discrimination, in addition, these jurisdictions could not change voting practices or procedures without pre-clearance from either the U.S. Attorney General or the district court. So states no longer had states' rights at this point, and we just rolled with it. So then the second thing there was not too far afterwards. 1971 26th Amendment, minimum voting age dropped from 21 down to 18. And so we're seeing this progression of just letting more and more and more and more people vote. This one, Jack, I think we can both talk about for a second here. I'm not totally against 18-year-olds being able to vote if 18-year-olds can get drafted to go to war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at that point, you definitely do have skin in the game.
Yeah,
you can't deny that.
Right, and you should be able to drink and whatever. If you can go to war, in my opinion, that's the legal metric of adulthood. However, you're not too far past 18, 21 yourself at this point in your life. Would you want the voting age to be 18 or 21 if you could choose?
I would definitely I would choose 21, to be honest, because your brain is more fully formed at that point, and you're more likely to make better informed decisions, and not just vote based on feels instead of reals.
Should it be even higher than 21?
Potentially.
And you're, I believe, 20. In your mid-20s, should it be 30?
At that point, you're kind of stretching it a bit, because if you're in your 20s, then you're sort of starting out your life, and I would say that's when you definitely do get a say over matters. Like, you have to pay taxes, you have a job, etc. Yeah, but that's the trick, see, because once you give somebody political power, they're not just going to surrender it under any means. So once you give somebody voting power, that's pretty much it. You can't do anything.
Yeah, nor would I say they would exercise that power with any sort of self-restraint. And so you're very carefully only trying to give power to people that you know will exercise self-restraint. And I think that's what you see in the 1700s. Yeah. And skin in the game is the quick little shortcut to making people do that.
Yeah, but John, let's say that they lower the age requirements for the military. Like, say that you can be 16 and join. Would you then be open to lowering the age to 16 so they can vote?
I don't think I would across the board, but if we were putting a 16-year-old in the military, then I would say that 16-year-old should be able to vote. Mm-hmm. I don't really see why it has to be so black and white, and I think you just sort of said the solution right there in so many words, which is you should be able to vote when you're an adult, whatever that means, but when you're an adult member of the society. And I guess what that does mean is, like you said, you're working, you're paying taxes, you're no longer in the student adolescent phase of the society. You're now an adult. Some people become that at 15 or 16. Some people don't become that until they're 40. Mm-hmm. Or some people never become that. It gets really tricky, though, of how do you police and enforce that, even though that's the right solution. And I think what happens with governments that deal with large numbers of people is we just don't have the time or the system or the technology to have such a dynamic set of rules. And so we just choose numbers and genders and races and stuff. And
yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. I don't even know that I fully realized, looking at this list, that they've already gone through, or the United States has already gone through a number of these cycles exactly like we're doing now. So you have the slow whittling away of the quality of the voter itself, and then you have all these little tricks people try to pull, and then the bigger and bigger and bigger federal government starts just stepping on those things one at a time, and now here we are. But 1700s, 1800s, people were trying to find ways around the bullshittery. Some of them were probably racist and sexist. I get that. But this isn't a new thing. It's been this way from the beginning. Look at that list.
Mm-hmm.
I find that very interesting. Very, very interesting. So 26th Amendment, minimum voting age 18. 1986, it's a bit niche. I'm not going to worry about that one. 1993, National Voter Registration Act passes, making register to vote at DMVs and other public assistance centers easy. Again, DMVs and public assistance centers in large numbers statistically are going to give you really high quality voters or lower quality ones.
Oh, we're definitely going to get lower quality voters.
I would think so.
The more we expand,
especially at public assistance centers. You know what I mean? So, 2002 Help America Vote Act requires voter ID for all new voters in federal elections who registered by mail, did not blah, blah, blah. 2002. Is that Bush?
Bush, it should be.
And then 2013, the Supreme Court overturned the part that kind of gave the federal government a little bit of the legal authority over states. So here we are anyway. That's the quick rundown. I didn't want to spend a ton of time on it. I just found it kind of interesting. This isn't a new thing. And here we are. So right now, you have this question of what is an American voter? And you have all these questions about how do we protect the integrity of the election and stop the cheating. We're all very much suspicious. There's going to be a lot of that coming up here in a little bit. Is it even worth voting is kind of the final question of all of this, which of course I think yes, but we'll get to that. What is the American voter now? I mean, here's what I would say. I ask you and then I just jump in, but here's how I see it. Is just it's not even American citizens anymore. It's pretty much right-wing or conservative Americans that have been grandfathered in. We're still allowed to vote. And then there's like you don't need to be a citizen to vote. You don't need to be a certain race. Do you even need to be a certain age? No, I don't know. I think so. Nobody really knows where all those votes are coming from. That's the point. Many of them are not real. Tons of fraud. The Democrats pushing to allow illegals to vote, which is, for anyone with a brain, the end of the country. There's no advantage anymore to being any sort of this stuff in the list. I do think we're all sort of the mind that we're willing. I mean, we're only a few fucking months away at this point. We might as well try one more time, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, John. Possibly one of the biggest lies we constantly hear in politics is that democracy, or at least what Democrats like to call democracy, is the antithesis to authoritarianism. But if you read up on history at all, that's not necessarily true, because there is such a thing known as majoritarianism, where the ruling majority can oppress the minority by taking away their rights,
sure,
like the practice to
sure,
own firearms, their ability to practice free speech, practice their religion, etc. So, and I don't necessarily agree with this take of not voting, but I see where libertarians and anarchists such as Michael Malice come from when they say that voting, people's ability to vote should be lessened, because ideally, the government's role is too big and broad that a lot of their responsibilities should be left up to private entities to solve, essentially. But we're not at that point, so I would say we still need to vote, because otherwise we're just going to allow people to further oppress us via the ballot box. That shouldn't be the case, but it unfortunately is at this moment.
I agree. And yeah, it's my belief. Anywhere on the internet you see somebody saying, "Oh, what's the point? We shouldn't even vote." That's a Democrat or a Chinese operative or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's concern trolling, they call that.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the chat here quickly. I see some comments about it. 3 years old is the age of the consent in the town. It's the first ones I pick. Always. Joel Mackey, starting at the top. River Spirits, 7. You age them out. Oop, I missed that. Fuck 21. Male brains are finally mature around 27, says Mod My Mind. Alcohol to 20. 20 draft school. Delay it by a bit. Cigarettes, blah, blah, blah. I saw another 8. 25 is reasonable. 25 is reasonable. Linda Love, my 23-year-old son who never votes or wants to talk about politics because he always agreed with his liberal uncle, told us he's voting for Trump. I think the spell is finally wearing off. Interesting.
Yeah. Another point.
Another video. Okay.
That should be, another point that should be raised. That should be raised, John, is how the difference in what voters want when electing politicians. Like for us conservatives, we do ask certain things in return for our vote, like giving our support to politicians. Consistently, it's to lessen the scope of government so they don't infringe upon our lives. But we do ask, like, we don't believe in absolutely no government because there are certain things that there should be a government for, like to secure a border, like have a strong military to defend ourselves from foreign threats, etc. However, a lot of people on the opposing side, the Democrats, they want the government expanded in scope so they can have a bunch of amenities or luxuries that they didn't really earn, and they want to admit this, of course, but it's going to come through the taxpayers' money, like other people's wallets. And to a lot of people, that is tyranny because you're basically voting at the ballot box to take away someone else's money at gunpoint, and if you refuse, like you either get shot or you just get thrown in jail. And that's just to me that's an unfair system. You should be able to opt out of it.
This is your link here, Jack. 10 facts about Democrats in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
The racial and ethnic composition of Democratic voters has changed a lot in recent decades. More than 4 in 10, 44%, are Hispanic, Black, Asian. So they're pretty much 50-50 white and non-white. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Double from 1996, about 20 years ago. By comparison, while Republicans are also more racially and ethnically diverse than in the past, the change among Republicans is less pronounced. About 8 in 10 are non-Hispanic white. Number 2, the share of Democratic voters with at least a 4-year college degree has roughly doubled since the 1990s. That could kind of be meaningless, though, because I feel like the entire share of college degrees has probably doubled also since 1990. Mm-hmm. Interesting, though.
The value of it has gone down, definitely.
Number 3, religiously, nearly half of Democratic voters identify as something other than Christian. Where's the Republican side of that? The share of Democratic voters. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I read that wrong?
I have another. Huh?
The share of Democratic voters who are religiously unaffiliated has roughly doubled from 18 to 38. So yeah.
If you're curious about Republican demographics, I have a link also from the Pew Research Center that's like this.
Yeah, so I was going to do that next. Yeah, for sure. I thought I had both of these here for a second. Kamala Harris draws more support. Well, that kind of makes sense given the 50% non-white.
Mm-hmm.
Most Democratic voters, 66, 2 out of 3, say they are extremely motivated to vote this fall.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, majorities of Democrats say gun violence, healthcare costs, and partisan gridlock are major national problems. Okay, so they care about gun violence, healthcare costs, and partisan gridlock. That's kind of ironic. Number 7, Democrats continue to favor an active federal government. Like you were just saying, they love it.
Yep. And historically, this is very much inconsistent with the Democratic the Democratic Party platform. They can say that they're pro equality, like diversity, etc., but those are really universal values that even the Republican Party represents. Like they do support like equality in the legal sense. They just don't support like equality in outcomes, stuff like that. However, like we were discussing this off camera before, John, but like you had like big Dem donors in the past, such as Boss Tweed in New York City in Tammany Hall. He purposely was corrupt up the ass, and his strategy was to empower like Irish immigrants by giving them a ton of voting power in exchange for political favors. And they've sort of kept on doing that throughout the ages or throughout the decades. I remember FDR did this with the Italian immigrants. Like a fun fact, like Columbus Day came into being in the United States. It came into being because FDR wanted to pander to the Italian, the new Italian immigrant demographic. Regardless of if you think Christopher Columbus or Columbus Day is a positive, like is a good day or not, that was mentality. He wanted to have a national holiday for votes. But now we see it again with the black population and women and the women population when it comes to abortion. Like LBJ, if you remember, there's a quote of him saying that he's going to have those N-words voting Democrat as much as he can
for the next 200 years or something.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it's worth keeping in mind that when the Democrats or like you see policies like this, there's always like a catch. They aren't doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. They're doing this for the purpose of consolidating political power, and it's always worth keeping that in mind.
You said some interesting stuff there too, which it starts to strike close to home, and you get emotionally biased against it. But you said that they use the immigration wave of the Irish. Mm-hmm. And this is like Gangs of New York. Does that sound right? That movie?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Boss Tweed was even in that movie.
He sure was. Yeah. So if you don't want to read this gigantic article, go watch Gangs of New York, and then you have to read an even bigger article about all the fake shit in it. But it's at least more entertaining for some people. Yeah. So the Tammany Hall, this big political machine. There's waves of immigration coming into the United States, and well before any large population of non-white people were any kind of issue. The people they all hated was the Irish. The Irish were impoverished. They were very easily manipulated. Say, hey, you want a potato? Go vote for this guy. And we were like, yeah. Yeah. It is what it is, but it did happen. It did happen, and it's a useful tool, right, to think about of how you yourself can be manipulated. Again, if you're literally starving to death, I don't think you can fault somebody. But so it happened with, I think you said the Italian wave also.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
they've since abandoned them as a demographic though, because they weren't.
All of them have. That's my point, right? So the Irish, awesome, and now the Irish, go fuck yourselves. And guess what's going to happen to blacks? The new one is Mexicans, right? Mm-hmm. Even blackers are like, wait a minute. Why did our local whatever just get filled with a bunch of Mexicans? That ain't right. Yeah, the political machine, I think, is kind of getting to the end of any usefulness it sees in black Americans.
Yeah.
And now we start the Hispanic wave.
Yeah, and that's sort of a when we eventually get to significant demographic change in the United States, I strongly believe that whites aren't going to be like a scapegoat, or at least not a scapegoat as much to a lot of political problems. And like you're going to start seeing more heated political tensions between like the African American population and the Hispanic American population on whose needs should be prioritized more. Because you could argue that a lot of Hispanic Americans have just as much of a right to like claim bigotry or whatever else in the United States history's past, because you have a Puerto Rico, for instance, like you have like they can also argue that they're victims of colonization or something, or human experimentation by the government. So there's just going to be like victim Olympics.
I apologize there. I see this super chat from Rusty Shackelford. I can't understand why it's not popping up.
I can read it off. We should vote the day after taxes are due, and if you don't file a W-2, you don't vote. Duck the dead weight.
Why ain't this popping up? Ah, all right. I'll keep an eye on them. Not entirely sure why that's happening, but that is, I can at least separate them out. So that's the first one. So we haven't missed any other ones. Good thought. I am aware, if anyone was wondering, of whoever it is running through the chat, trying to rile you guys up. If you want me to just boot him, I will. I haven't really read a whole lot.
Boomer found their way into the chat.
Yeah. Joe, texting and driving and super chatting. All right. Focus up, people. Focus up. Yeah, any of you regular people whose names I know don't want that in there, Ashley something, just say so, and she's gone. Just let me know. Otherwise, I'm kind of keeping half an eye on it because we're doing a bunch of things. I'm sorry, Jack, I derailed us. I did highlight on the screen here, though. It's not hard to admire the skill behind Tweed's system. Mm-hmm. That's the point. Like, you get angry and you call them all stupid, these stupid cheaters, and a lot of them are stupid. And probably all the people carrying the ballots are stupid. But somewhere out there is some boss Tweed motherfucker that we haven't identified yet. Is it Obama? Probably. But they've learned their lesson if they no longer wander around with giant diamonds in their fucking buttonholes and shit that Thomas Nast can. So even like this is interesting. I don't know. Thomas Nast is the guy who sort of finally did take out Tammany Hall, or at least he took out Tweed. And he did it with fucking memes. I shit you not. Good dude to read about. I don't really know a whole ton about him personally. Yeah.
He's the original cat turd.
He's way more original than that. Why can't I get out of this? Let me just go through the images here on Wikipedia. He's memeing. He's memeing. He's memeing. Thomas Nast did not let his memes be dreams. Where's the thumb one? That was a good one. That's the famous one, I think. God, he drew a lot of memes. This guy memed like a motherfucker. We need to get Thomas Nast in the Dilly meme team. I think that was a pretty good one. The Tammany Tiger. It's going to be the last one. Ooh, getting closer. Oh, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. They are spicy, though. They're pretty spicy. This is 1860. February 1860. Let me see if I can find that specific one. Thomas Nast thumb. Images. That's it. New tab. Oh, let me make that a little bigger. You see there, Tammany. That's Tammany's thumb on New York. So there you go. This is 1860 memes, not an original. I'm sorry, I think that says 1871 actually up there at the top, doesn't it? Did you know about this kind of thing, Jack? Like, has this ever popped up in your? Do you find this interesting as a 20-whatever-year-old? Or are you like?
I'm aware that like political comics existed quite a while. Like you have that classic Snake, that Snake comic, of course. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? John?
Join or Die, Benjamin Franklin.
Join or Die, yeah.
I think Ben Franklin made that.
Yeah, he did. But I wasn't really familiar with the Thomas Nast like shit posting, like OG shit posting.
Yes, he literally shit posted tweet. Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Yep. And with the individual states, right?
Yeah.
Ben Franklin dropping memes.
Yeah, Ben Franklin also had like some choice words for democracy. He said that democracy is two wolves and a lamb voting on what to eat, and a lamb is a well-armed is a voter with a well-armed liberty.
I'm just reading the comments here in case there was any. I think everybody's enjoying just letting them waste their own time, I guess. So not booting yet. Join or die memes. I'm sorry, Jack. I'm really bad at doing 45 things at once. This is supposed to be your show anyway, man. Where were we just at? We had a what did I have up before?
We were just talking about
Tammany
Boss
Hall.
Tweed,
Boss
Tammany
Tweed.
Hall, Tweed.
So there's a fun question for anybody out there that wants to be a sleuth. Is I guarantee you, now it's probably more like a think tank, but even then, we are humans. We have hierarchies. Somewhere there's somebody or something at the top of it, where there's nobody in charge. But something's happening here. So this Tammany Hall machine, you should read about it, how they did it, who they used, and then how they threw those people away and took in a new. It's all still going on. Exactly like this.
And I absolutely also count the Confederate South. Like, I know a ton of them a ton of Dems try to say, oh, well, the party switched. Like that's just complete bullshit. When you look at the party platforms, they didn't really change at all. Like, political pluralism is a thing, and when you look at it in the context of grifting to people for political favors, it's consistent.
I want to quickly say I didn't realize this. Trump is speaking right now, which I might run over and try to figure out or whatnot. I didn't realize that. So no hard feelings if you want to go watch that. What's that, Jack?
Do you know what about?
It might be that rally.
Not the Butler, PA rally.
No. He's like having a rally tonight, I think, in Pennsylvania somewhere. Maybe even Johnstown.
Well, you remember the last one we missed. That was a mistake.
I don't think he's gonna get shot in Johnstown. He might get
You
flooded.
never know.
He might get flooded. Well, should we take what time we got here? We haven't been going that long. We could just
5:37.
If you want to try to get over to that, we can.
How about we leave it up to chat?
Yeah, I mean, Chad, if you would rather go over to Trump's speech, we can do that. Although I would say go over there and watch it on your own if you're super down for it. I'm kind of enjoying this conversation, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, all these chats. Johnstown. Meme cannons. Oh, I'm getting sucked into the chat. All right, so we're gonna do this. I'm gonna take like a 1 minute, Jack. 1 minute commercial break. I'm just gonna look at what's going on. I'm gonna take our volumes down. I'm gonna see what's going on, and then we'll come right back. You cool with that?
Yeah, sounds good. Yep.
And while I do that, I'm gonna throw up this Therese Holland, electholland.com. This is PA 82nd District. That's her website right there. If you are in a not strongly contested area, heavily blue, heavily red, consider donating $1 or something like that. Pennsylvania is very hotly contested. That's probably why Trump's in Johnstown, not too far from here. But we're going to just take a quick look at what Trump is up to. Where's my music? I'll be right back.
She said, I'm a feminist man, I'm a fucking man eater. When I'm not in theater class, I'm blasting through glass ceilings. My feelings are so seriously real, they are my steering wheel. I'm steering clear of any gentleman who get near me. You hear me? I said, yep, I've got it, and I don't want it. I'm off it, I'm moving on. I'm a finder behind 100 pounds lighter. Well, that ignited a fire inside her eye. The tiger don't want to die, so I fly, but I leave a Snickers for the beast. 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 Peace, beast, eat your Snickers. She said, I'm a liberal man, I'm a fucking Spanish teacher. Me llamen no huevo, dime, dame la verga. Tu madre me quiere, quiere, gigante, I got it. You want picante, I got it. You want tejano, you want it by the bottle. I said, yep, I got it, and I don't want it. I'm off it, I'm moving on.
All right, I think my my damn button's Jack. That's not Jack. There he is. Were you taking a break too? Were you doing a couple lines there on your desk? What's that razor blade you just threw over your shoulder? I'm gonna
am so
vote. My
angry.
strong vote is it's a rally, and I would rather keep talking about
Okay.
voting. What do you think? Oh, there we go. Sorry, my volume was weird.
Yeah, my thoughts are, if he's not speaking, I say we continue with the show. But when he is speaking, then we can like. switch over to
Fine.
him.
Hold on. Let me find it. Trump live. Alrighty. Fox News. Nope. 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 No. Where's AP at, dog? Am I blind? Oh, fuck it. Let's just go to this one.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message. This is a...
We're going to get an ad blocker in the new studio.
Pays nothing. China pays nothing. India pays nothing. And they won't pay for years, but we pay because we're a bunch of suckers. And I terminated it. And one of the early things that Harris did, because she's the one that pushed it, is they renewed it for even more money than they were paying before. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. You'd almost think they hate our country. Kamala Harris surrendered our
Got the
energy
chat on the chat.
independence,
I didn't mean
spent
to do that.
hundreds
Hold
of
on.
billions of dollars on the Green New scam. She's trying to take away gas stoves and heaters. She's vowed repeatedly that we will ban fracking. We will always ban fracking. She just said it today. I saw it. They have a clip from like 2 years ago. She said, no, I'm in favor of fracking, like last week. Oh, no, I'm in favor. Then they start playing clips. We will always ban fracking. There will never
Just
be
give me a heads up,
fracking.
chat, that you're not hearing an echo on this video. I don't think you should be,
Pennsylvania
but
are smart. They're not going to fall for it. She will destroy. If you don't have fracking, you don't have a commonwealth. She also imposed a crippling natural gas export ban on Pennsylvania oil and gas, another catastrophe for your state. And this is all stuff that she's done. And I want to call up. I'm flying in.
thank you, Lord of the Ree. Happy Hardam Friday, world champions. Q told me that Holland was the one who took out Lee Darty Oswald. Now smash the Rumblussi or that faggot. Oh, it's behind my other camera. I can't see it. Chat's moving too fast for me. Lord of the Wreath, thank you. I apologize it didn't pop up. Apparently that broke again. We haven't figured it out yet. The last thing I can see is faggot.
Thank you. Wow.
Oh, Yale things. There you go. Thank you, Lord of the Wreath.
Job you do. But we were watching actually RSBN, and there was a man there named Mark Caskey, the founder of Steel Nation, and he made the greatest speech. And it wasn't necessarily a Winston Churchill type speech, because Winston didn't wear a pith helmet, and Winston's hair wasn't quite as long as Mark's hair. And Winston was brought up in the Oxford tradition, but it was actually just as good. He actually gave me ideas. I thought I was the one that was exposing how bad it's going to be in Pennsylvania and our country if we stop doing the fossil fuel thing, because, in Germany they stopped and the country was ready to go down the tubes. Now they're building a coal plant a week. A coal plant a week. And Angela is no longer with us. She's no longer with us. But where is Mark Caskey? Is he still around? Oh, look at him right here. Oh, he's probably shocked. I don't know who the hell he is, but you gave the greatest speech. Would you come up? Can I shake your hand?
How did I not hear about this rally?
Man, you are something, Mark.
Thought that was the deacon for a second.
Hey, Mark. He can say a little bit more, right?
Winston Churchill, I'm not. I was born and raised in Carolina and Pittsburgh as an adult, and I've been a Yinzer for a long time, President. The war on energy and by the left. And it's not just here, it's worldwide. What's happening in Europe right now is a shame. To even think about EVs here in America when the technology's not there. We would have to cover 2/3 of America with solar panels to power this great country of ours. We have the Marcellus Shale right below our feet in West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York, but New York's not bright enough to take advantage of it. That Cuomo family kind of shut that down a while ago, President. We were on stage with President Trump in 2019 at the convention center in Pittsburgh. We're gonna have better results this year. But
what are we doing, Jack? We watching? We just gonna observe?
Oh no, well he's cooking. Like I agree with everything he's saying. Like it is a worldwide attack on fossil. There is a worldwide attack on fossil fuels and energy usage, which the entire world relies on for like to keep warm, to stay alive, essentially. Like Alex Epstein, like he does good work on this, and I would recommend chatters checking him out to find out more.
No, I'm watching Mark, and you know he's talking about all the things that happened when they shut down everything. They then click sell. People forget. I had it approved. I approved it. It wasn't going to happen. Billions of dollars had been spent. I approved it. They came in. They shut it down. The only one they didn't shut down was the Russian pipeline going through Europe, right? Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2, Mark, until I came along, right? Russia was building the biggest pipeline in the world, going to Germany and various other countries in Europe. Countries that we defend against Russia. Think of this. So we defend them against Russia with NATO. We pay billions and billions, and far more than we're supposed to be paying, because they had a lot of people that were delinquent. But after I got finished, they paid, you know? They all paid. They said, would you defend us if we don't pay? I said, no. They all paid. Took about... Obama used to come in, make a speech, and leave. Bush came in, made a speech, and leave. And you know, remember this. Under Bush, Putin took a lot of land. Under Obama, Putin took a lot of land. Under Biden, he's trying to take all of the land, all of the land. Under Trump, he took nothing.
That microphone hum is on this video. I don't know why.
He took nothing. But Mark said, and I said, write this down. Mark, do you have a copy of that speech, please? It's much easier. Just give me a copy. But no, he named like 6 things that happened immediately. But one of them was so big because the Keystone XL pipeline was a big deal, and that was going to bring a lot of oil in, and it was going to go in. You know, pipelines underground is safer than trucks, I guess, right? And a lot more efficient. It was a big deal, and I approved it. And this guy came in and he immediately dropped it. But you know what? He did approve Nord Stream. Now I shut down Nord Stream. Russia was upset with me. Putin said, you know, if you're supposed to be my friend, I'd hate like hell to see you as my enemy. I closed the biggest deal they've ever done. It was shut. And then this guy came in who's got a low IQ. Very, very low. Now he's got maybe no IQ. You have to check it out. And he immediately, the first thing he did was approve the Nord Stream pipeline. Congress, oh, look who we have.
Definitely on the video.
Superstar of the future. He's already a superstar, but he's a superstar of the future. Byron Donalds, Florida. Wow, that's nice to have you here. That's good. He's great. He's great. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. That one is smart. You have smart ones and you have some that aren't quite so good. But we have a group of people that are really great. But so I stopped Nord Stream 2, stopped it cold, wasn't going to happen. This guy comes in, he approves it. Then they say, oh, Trump was nice to Russia. I wasn't nice to Russia. But you know what? Getting along with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing. Remember that. Getting along with these people is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a smart thing to do. I got along with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Remember, I walked over the first person to ever walk over from this country, and we also looked at his nuclear capability. It's very substantial. You know, getting along is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The fake news would say, he likes Putin or Putin likes him. Let me tell you, they said, President Xi likes Trump. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we were tough with China, too. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars worth of taxes and tariffs. No other president took in 10 cents. When we win on day one, I will tell Pennsylvania to drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill. And you know, a man named Mark Levin, does anybody know Mark Levin? He's great. But he said something to me.
Sorry about
he said,
that.
you know, he loves this country so much. His show is fantastic. And I do an interview with him this weekend, so I hope you're going to watch. But he's very smart, very tough, but he really loves the country, and he hates what he sees happening. But he sent me something. He said, if you'd like, you can read this at your rally today, and if you like it, you can use it anytime you want. And I think I'm going to do it because it's not very long, and we have plenty of time, and it's only about 100 degrees in here. It's actually not that bad. But Mark is a great man, and he's a great patriot, and he writes, here's what we know about Comrade Kamala Harris. She just doesn't care about the American people, especially hardworking, middle-class Americans. She just doesn't give a damn about you. She does not care about the deaths, sex slavery, drugs, criminals coming across our border.
We're having some frame
She's been
dropping
vice
issues here.
president
Hold
for
on.
nearly 4 years, and she did nothing to stop it.
He got bad. We were dropping like 1 out of 5 frames there for a minute. I'm going to just hang off for a second, see what happens with the internet here, Jack. This is live now. Just go Trump live on YouTube. It's a rally in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. I see a rebooted with a thumbs up. So, yeah, this continues to go on. I guess that's why we're getting out of this stupid place. Yeah, all right. So it seems to be working again. Let's just go.
All she does is complain. She does not care about women's rights because she supported destroying women's sports and athletic scholarships. She wants men to play in women's sports. She does not care about protecting little children from sex change operations because she chose Tampon Tim as a running mate who believes the state, not mothers and fathers, should have the final say on sex change operations for their children.
Has he said that before?
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Can you believe that? Kamala Harris wants to outlaw your car and truck and force you to buy electric vehicles, whether you like them or not, whether you can afford it or not, and they don't go far. She does not care how it impacts you or your family. Kamala Harris does not care about senior citizens because she believes illegal aliens should receive Social Security and Medicare, which she knows will bankrupt those insurance programs, making it impossible for you to receive your pension and health care, which you paid for your entire working life. That's true. She wants to destroy your private health care, even if you like it, even if your employer contributes to it. And she wants Washington, D.C. to make your medical decisions. She wants Washington to decide what procedures and medicines and care you should receive. Whether or not you like it is not important. Kamala Harris had nearly 4 years to show us who she is. She is an uncaring politician with a radical ideology. She is a Marxist. Despite her campaign of lies and flip-flops, we know who Kamala Harris is. We know by her actions and we know by her inaction. We know she does not care about working people, about the middle class, about any of our great American citizens. She does not respect you. Ask the families of the 13 service member heroes who died during the surrender of Afghanistan if Kamala Harris cares about our young people. Just ask them that question. Does she care about our military? The answer is no. Ask the cops in the street trying to protect you from murderers, rapists, and thugs if Kamala Harris cares about law-abiding citizens. Ask the families of women raped and murdered by illegal aliens and the teenagers cut to shreds by gangs from El Salvador and Venezuela. if Kamala Harris cares about you. Harris has opposed school choice for poor inner city kids. She's opposed police in schools to protect your children. And she's defended stocking school library shelves with filthy graphic books. She refused to prosecute pedophiles who molested your children. When she was DA and AG in California, 2 places she absolutely destroyed. Does this sound like someone who cares about children? Kamala Harris has failed you. She has failed as vice president. She has broken trust with you. She has done nothing for the middle class, working families. She's done nothing even for hardworking people. Your eyes don't lie. You see it. We all see it. She's sitting as the vice president of the United States, and yet nobody knows who the hell she is. She does not give a damn about you. This is the real Kamala Harris, and now she wants a promotion. Well, I'm here to give her a demotion, not a promotion. She can hide and she can lie all the way through, and with her surrogates and the corrupt media. But the truth is coming out. Right now, it's already coming out much faster than I thought. The American people are smart. They will not be manipulated by Hollywood. The fake news.
Jack, I got bad news. I think we're fucked on this stream.
What
Not
happened?
entirely sure. Well, it just keeps going in and out, and I am showing not great numbers on my end. I know some of you say it's working,
Yeah.
and then some of you saying it's
I
not.
saw.
Here's where
Yeah,
I'm
I saw
really
something
coming for those.
down.
If you want to watch this, I don't want you to watch a shitty version here where you're dropping it all the time. Just go watch it. The
Yeah.
beginning of the show, we were talking about voting and the history of voting. Let me just go back to that really quickly. I think that's super worth checking out if you got the time. Oh, boss tweet also, but this guy. A brief history of voting in America and how we now live in a time that is corrupt and propaganda, etc., etc. And so the final question I think we kind of wanted to talk about is it worth voting at all? Like, why even bother voting? That's sort of the thing going around. I have my suspicions on where that's coming from. Yeah, see, now it's like some people are like, oh, it's working great. And then right above that, it's like, nope, it just made me quit.
Oh man, yeah, it's a shame because I wanted to get more into this question because there's a current controversy going around, or just like current infighting on social media platforms in right-wing circles regarding Trump's previous comments on abortion, which I find to be stupid, and I'd like to get more into that.
I think that's
the
an
stream is
awesome
good,
show, but we're just I was kind of hoping if I stopped that, something might change, and
yeah.
I don't think it has.
Is it possible to like start up a new stream, or is it not worth it?
We could try that. Actually, you know what? Trying to think of how I would do that, because it's not hard to do. I can actually like stop and start on YouTube only, but it's gonna kill all the other ones. Let me try it and see what happens. Cross your fingers and hold on. You know that you seen the original Jurassic Park? That old Jack?
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson says, "Hold on to your butts," when they're rebooting the whole system. You didn't see it. You lied. You were just trying to.
No, I see it. I see it. I know he gets his.
Yeah.
He gets killed off screen.
I'm gonna go walk down to the little raptor zone and flip a power switch, and we'll see what happens. Give me like 1 second. Yeah. Am I sure? No, I'm not sure. Yeah, let's just try it. So that would definitely have made everyone have to stop and start it one more time, but let me look at the frame dropping. My God. So far, so good. So let me put Trump back up. Hold on.
Okay.
And
John David Longo.
Oh, fuck. No. Oh. Is it this?
Who's going to defeat your terrible Senator Bob Casey. Bob Casey, by the way, just say, like, I don't want to spend. Nobody knows who the hell he is.
All right, so it seems to be working for now and not dropping frames. So we're going to keep going.
I was telling you, they are tough to beat. But this guy,
Or did you want to, now let's just watch Trump a little
he's
bit.
a star. He was a brilliant student. Everything he ever did, he went to Wall Street. He became like one of the biggest people. And I know it's, I just see it. Some of these guys, they've been there for years and years, and I'm not knocking them. They're survivors. What they are is survivors more than anything else. But this guy is an outstanding person. This guy is not a survivor. He's somebody that can really turn the country around and somebody that we need. And maybe I'd like to have him come up and say a few words. Dave McCormick, please. Come on up, Dave.
Oh, man. You want to watch Dave McCormick?
I mean, we can roast him or review.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are so proud to have you in the Keystone State. This is ground zero where you're going to go back to the White House based on what happens here in Pennsylvania. Right here, ground zero. And, Mr. President, I'm so optimistic that you are going to win in Pennsylvania.
Danny?
You're going to win the presidency for two reasons. Number one, when I'm going across our great Commonwealth, the thing people say they want is common sense leadership, the kind of common sense leadership you showed when you were president. But the second...
I'm going to turn McCormick down. Jack, I actually kind of wanted to hear what you had to say that you started to talk about. Is that cool with you?
I was there with Mike Kelly and Dan Muser in Butler.
Sure. In regards to what, like the pro-life stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, because that's
Okay.
that's the... What's her name? It's Leela?
Yeah, so I left some links to it.
Yeah, I'll pull
her name
those.
is Leela or Lila Rose, and
Wow, McCormick's getting booted already. I thought he was going to hog the mic there for a while.
Ooh,
All right, we'll keep going,
let's
though.
go back
I'll
to
pull up your link. We'll keep an eye on him. But no, finish your story. I want to hear it.
Yeah, so there's currently a new term floating around right-wing spaces at the moment in response to vocal pro-life issue voters declaring that Trump has lost their vote because of his recent comments clarifying his stance on abortion, of letting the states decide how to handle the issue instead of instituting an outright federal ban. And that is Pro-Life Inc. The term is an insult aimed at these people, specifically people like David French and Lila Rose, which you see on the screen here. She's the president of a pro-life, a pro-life anti-abortion organization called Live Action. And what she essentially does is grift off of abortion as an issue as a professional activist instead of actually doing anything to lessen abortion. So think of her as a less successful David Hogg, except instead of standing on the dead bodies of like dead school children, she stands on top of like aborted babies.
Oh.
And I personally looked into these allegations, and I have to agree that she looks incredibly bad considering the information that has come out on her and her organization. What she essentially does is spend a ton of money on herself, like her salaries and her own salary and her employee salaries, her podcast, and holding fancy parties through her organization. She does nothing at all to support pro-life activists being persecuted by the Biden-Harris administration. She does nothing to support or promote pro-life ballot initiatives or causes at the state level across the country. She can't even really inform people on the issue of abortion, because if you look at polls, we are getting crushed on abortion as an issue, and her failures just speak for themselves. Yet somehow she feels like she has any authority to lecture not only Trump but also Trump voters on what they should prioritize this election cycle. And it's just insane to me that she has the audacity to say anything like that.
Yeah, and people have been making this point about Roe v. Wade. And it's like you can't, she says, she's saying something to the effect of she can't vote for Trump. Let me keep this up over here. Not sure what's going on here right now. Looks interesting, though. She can't vote for Trump because of his abortion policies, which are, and she says we need just complete no abortion at all. It's like, well, then Kamala then, huh? You know what I mean? It's like, for God's sakes, when the universe hands you a step in the right direction, take the goddamn step.
Yeah, and I don't even believe that this is a principled position from her, because
no,
in
it's
the
not.
past,
Yeah, you're
like,
100% right. Yeah.
When you look at mainstream Republican positions, like George W. Bush was not an absolutist when it comes to abortion bans. Neither was Mitt Romney. Neither was any really mainstream Republican nominee. And she still, like, if you look at her tweets, like or like her voting history, she never like condemns them for that. Like she says like, oh well, like you have to give and take. Like she understands why being a single issue voter on abortion is not worth it. Because she understands that if you die on the hill of requesting a federal abortion ban, you're not only not going to get it, you're also going to lose. You're also going to cause every other issue like immigration, inflation to not be addressed.
It's a good take.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you know who either of these two clowns are right here? I mean, I'm sure they're good guys. Whatever. That's just.
I have no idea, to be honest.
Let me just see where we're at here.
That's really nice. Great honor, fellas. Very talented guys, too.
Whatever
just
they say.
one final friend of mine who's been a friend for a long time, one of the most successful people in New York and Florida and all around. Wherever he goes, he's successful. He never fails. He really doesn't. He's very extraordinary. Mr. Steve Witkoff. He's right here. Steve, stand up. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Got one of the great families, too. One of the great, great families. One of his boys is looking down right now, very proud of Dad, right? Looking down, yeah, brothers, he's looking down saying, I'm so proud of my dad. But Steve is just extraordinary. So thank you, Steve, for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you. From the moment we take back the White House from Kamala and Crooked Joe, we're going to have 4 of the greatest years in the history of our country. It's going to happen. We're going to get it done fast. Starting on day 1, I will seal the border and stop the migrant invasion into our country. We will carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. We have no choice. We will halt the invasion and deport the illegals. She will let in the next 15 million people, and if they won in 4 years, we will have had over 100 million people from all over the world enter our country, and many of them likewise will be from prisons, mental institutions, gang members, criminals. We're not going to do it. She will destroy this country. She's worse than Biden. Because Biden wasn't a real believer in the radical left. She is. That's all she knew. That's what her father taught her. A Marxist professor. That's what he taught her. We will defeat inflation very quickly, and we will make America affordable again. People cannot afford to live here. We will make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. I already brought it to #1. We were energy independent 4 years ago. Look what happened. We're going to be energy dominant very soon. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country in the world, and we will use it to reduce taxes and energy costs for our people. We will also start paying down debt very substantially. In 12 months, we will cut your energy bills in half. We will cut them in half. And that includes heating, air conditioning, electricity, and gasoline. I will turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower very quickly. We're ready to do that. We had the most successful country economically in the history of the world, and we'll get it back very fast. We will no longer allow foreign countries to take our jobs and steal our wealth. In Mexico, they're building massive automobile factories that the UAW head doesn't know. The people know. That's why the people are for me within the UAW, United Auto Workers. But they're building massive plants. They're owned by China. They think they're going to make cars, sell them into the United States. No, they're not. I will put a 200% tariff on every single car, and no car will be coming to the United States. We will make our own products and buy far less from foreign countries that we are buying right now, other countries that make us pay a tax to do business with them will be charged the same tax or tariff when they send their product into the United States. It'll be called the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. So if China or any other country charges us a 100% or 200% tariff or tax, we will then charge them a 100 or 200% tariff or tax in return. I will end the electric vehicle mandate. I will cut every job-killing regulation of the Harris-Biden administration. I cut more regulations than any president in history by far, and I gave you the largest tax cuts of any president in history by far, and make our auto manufacturing business stronger than ever before. We're going to bring in tremendous numbers of factories. They're going to all be brought in because it's going to be too expensive for people to make them outside. They're going to all come back. We're going to bring it back. We've lost 72% of our automobile manufacturing business over the last 30 years. It's going to come back. When I'm back in the White House, we will pass large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips.
Bandit 848, make Trump president again.
So if you're
Gosh,
a
would that be
restaurant
nice?
worker, a bartender, hospitality worker, a caddy, a barber, driver, or anyone else who relies on tip income, your tips will be yours. You know, they've given you inflation. They've taken all your money away. And, you know, she heard this, and 2-3 months later, she said, there will be no tax on tips. How original. That's why we talk about the American dream. She heard that the other day. So she'll start talking soon about she's going to bring back the American. She doesn't know what the American dream is. I will fight for and protect your Social Security and Medicare with no cuts whatsoever. And we will have no tax on Social Security benefits for our seniors. No more tax. Yesterday, I made a major new announcement. If I'm elected this November, for the first time ever, your government will pay for or require insurance companies to pay for all costs associated with IVF fertility treatment. We want more babies to be born in America. We want more babies. We need them. We need them. We will cut wasteful and unnecessary spending, and we will terminate the Green New Deal and spend that money on roads, bridges, real infrastructure, and paying down debt, not fake infrastructure that has caused massive inflation with no benefit whatsoever to our country. I will settle the war in Ukraine, and I will end the chaos in the Middle East, and I will restore peace through strength very quickly. We will end the weaponization of government against the American people. We will protect religious liberty, and we will end the war on Christmas is back. Remember? 8 years ago, I said there's a war on Christmas. They were afraid to say Merry Christmas, and we had it won, but now how much can it take? But we will stop that very quickly. Just don't buy. Anybody doesn't say Merry Christmas, you don't buy, and that'll be back very, very quickly. When I return to the White House, I will also stop the indoctrination of your children and protect your parents' rights. We're going to protect parents' rights. We will rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. In Washington, D.C., you leave the Commonwealth, you want to go see the Washington Monument, and you end up getting stabbed. You look at dirty roads with bad barricades, with graffiti all over the marble. It's going to be cleaned up real fast. We're going to take it over. We're going to run it properly. And we're going to have tough law enforcement. People aren't going to be shot in Washington, D.C. anymore. And we will keep the
Can't wait to
US
vote for
dollar
Trump,
as
says
the
William.
world's reserve
I can see
currency.
why.
It's fading. We're not going to let that. That would be like losing a world war. You can't let that happen. Then we would be a third world nation. This is how we will end the era of inflation, mayhem, and misery under Kamala and Crooked Joe. We will unleash safety, prosperity, and peace for Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. Together, we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation, so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home. We will stop the invasion, end migrant crime, support our police, strengthen our military, build a missile defense shield all around our country. Other countries have it. Why shouldn't we? We're going to all make it right here in Pennsylvania and other places. We're going to make a lot of it right here in Pennsylvania, from what I hear. But Israel has it. It worked. 300 rockets shot. 299 got shot down. One got pretty seriously hit. But if you think about it, it's amazing technology. You know, Ronald Reagan wanted it many years ago, but the technology wasn't there. But now the technology is there. We're going to have it built. We're going to have that dome built right over us. We're going to have a beautiful, safe country. One way or the other, we're going to keep it safe. We're going to keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools. And we're going to keep men out of women's sports. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with joy and opportunity and hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris, a Marxist, and we must stop her country-destroying liberal agenda once and for all. We have to stop it. And I think a lot of things are happening. Look, people are seeing who she is. All you had to do is watch yesterday. Give me a break. That's not a president. That's not a president. That's not a president. And we can't let that person destroy our country. So get your friends, get your family, register, volunteer, and get the hell out to vote, okay? Front row Joe. Right?
Just quickly to the chat, not that anybody asked me, but I see legitimate points being made. You have to understand that, like, just like any other politician running for anything, but especially president, Trump is forced to say certain things and not say certain things. And not even just on his permanent platform, but what he's saying now might change in a month, or new information, or he might have some plan to totally talk about something different. So I think when taken at face value, a lot of people, their comments, I agree with them. But it's just like with the that Lila Rose or whatever. Let's say he does mean everything he says. It's gonna be Trump or Kamala. You know, sometimes I do wish you could have everything you want, but it's just so much better than the alternative. But as he's doing right now, this isn't logic.
Thank you very much, Pennsylvania. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, we're gonna get
All right,
copyrighted.
listening here to former President Donald Trump.
You know, you cheer and is that propaganda? Is it whatever? No, it's part of the game. There's a game being played. Let me actually pull this up here. So I don't know. I don't see infighting. I see genuine concern. Maybe I do see infighting. It's all good. So if you're one of the people he's getting mad at, let it slide. You've been there. We've been there. I hope everybody comes back and keeps the conversation going. But yeah, when taken at face value, of course. But, you know, the Democrats say things and then don't do them. Trump says things and doesn't do them. He doesn't say things and then secretly does them. It's just, this is a rally, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know that some of them, I'm kind of in agreement with what I've seen. Yeah, it's concerning. It's certainly not the best long-term goal. But just like with the pro-life, our only position is zero abortion at all or nothing. That position loses. You can always, you know, become that, which is exactly what the left has done to us, which is, It's the slippery slope in reverse, is it not, Jack? Like all we want is a gay wedding cake, and now you look at public school books and libraries and things like that.
Right.
You can do that same idea right back to your enemy, and I believe that's kind of what Trump is doing, which is like, oh, no, we just want this little thing. And then as soon as he gets it, he goes to the next step. Why?
Yeah.
Because it works.
Yeah, and I'd like to move this back to the the pro-life debate that we're having right now, or that the right is having at the moment, because it ties back into what we were originally saying on whether or not you should be voting. A lot of the people telling you to not vote if you're pro-life, if you care about being pro-life, those people are grifters. If I'm being completely honest with you,
100%.
They are professional activists that personally benefit from abortion being an active issue. They don't, just like how you have a bunch of race grifters like constantly lying about like police shootings and like crying systemic racism in scenarios.
Yes, their business model
that isn't there. They want to keep this problem like perpetuated.
Correct.
And if you do care about this issue, it also doesn't make any sense for you to not vote during this election cycle with the mentality that they might, like the GOP might become more pro-life if you don't vote, if they lose this election. This entire election, is not just about Trump. It's also just about abortion in general. It's a referendum on abortion. If you don't turn out to support the GOP for being like pro-life as they are now, they're just going to drop it. They're just going to drop being pro-life in general because it's not worth it. And then we won't have anywhere else to go because the Dems won't take us in. They'll just keep on pushing abortions even more because they don't have any opposition to it. So we need to we need to strategize in a smart way and not show them our full hand.
I agree. Rules for you, I'm sure, have heard of Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. No? Well, check it out if you haven't. Make the other side play by their own rules. It's Inception, like the stupid movie in a sense. But one way to kill your enemy, let's just use a stupid metaphor, is in a debate, is to out-debate them. This is what I feel like the right wing and Christians and pro-life people continuously do. We believe we will win by following the rules and just performing at a higher level than they can. And what Saul Alinsky said is good. So make a bunch of stupid rules and make them follow them. And that's the no abortion whatsoever. Give them an unwinnable position and then incept them into adopting it. Quickly, Lord of the Ree, don't be a boomer faggot. And let the perfect be the enemy of the good. There it is. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Trump is taking a pragmatic approach. Also great. We will get everything we want? No. But will we get more than we would with Kamala? Yes. Yes. Again, the only argument against that is that this is all just a show. And that's a fair argument. But if that's true, we're all fucked and there's no point. I don't really think the Democrats would be trying this hard or spending this much money if it was all just a show. There's easier shows to make than this one. That's just the way I see it. So that's an awesome comment from Lord of the Ree. Always love to have you here, and why I read your Rumblussy comments with a smile on my face, because there's always one of those lurking somewhere after it. It's the kind of people we have on the show, which is really cool. But yeah, if you were to do the same thing to the left, which Trump is like the first one that's really seemed to understand this, is find some weird position they have that's really hard to defend, and so they just don't really talk about it, like being very publicly pro-trans or pro-trans in women's sports would be a good one. That's all you fucking talk about. Just make it about their losing position. Like, that's the left's abortion. Is they gotta pander to their base, so if you make them talk about it, they gotta say words that 99% of people think are stupid, so they just avoid talking about it.
Right. And if you are like a passionate pro-lifer, what you can do instead of like demanding for federal abortion bans is to like change like the laws on abortion at the state level, like actually inform people about what abortion is, like when life actually begins, and just get started there. Like it, because the next 3 election cycles, none of forget Trump. It's not, none of the like GOP nominees are going to like have a federal abortion ban on their as their platform, because it's political suicide and they will lose the entire election if they do that. This is just simply the most realistic approach of stopping abortions in the long run.
Yeah, it's like I think we're a lot of pro-lifers, or at least that extremely pro-life. Extreme's the wrong word. Like I get where you're coming from, but
hard line.
Yeah, hard. There you go. Thank you. Mo Juice, baby. Did you just Mo Juice me, Jack? You're getting a lot of high praise in the comments. I don't know if you noticed that, by the way. Yeah, Jack does. You know your shit, man. You really do. Well beyond your years. And it's not just, you're not just regurgitating like factoids and shit. You've taken those and you've put them together in some kind of coherent narrative about your understanding of the world, which I happen to think is pretty fucking correct, which is wild. You're way too young to have gotten that far. But
thank you.
Yeah, I don't know.
To work on not stuttering like a tard.
Yeah, we've been brutal on you, but you've been giving it right back. See, was I right? And not that this is how you fucking get better at this shit. Always attack back. You be Trump, baby. No apologies. You got to find something I do bad and make fun of me instead of apologizing. You're dude. You're fucking. You're just starting. Don't worry. Read through this chat. It'll make you feel good, I think. And now they're making fun of you again.
Our boy Danny is in the chat right now saying something.
Oh, Danny. Strategically shift the Overton window, another term of art that gets used a lot now, in easy-to-do districts. Easy to do so. Yeah, districts where you can do it. Yeah, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Oh, the highest compliment possible, Jack. They remind you of a younger them. That's the greatest compliment you can get from an adult.
Hell yeah.
The worst is when you don't like that adult.
Right.
Then you're like, fuck. But yeah. So have you heard of Saul Alinsky Rule for Radicals or anything like that?
I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
This was like much bigger and much more talked about publicly in 2016. I try not to give to you. I would read this if for you. In fact, you have to read this. It's an assignment. Okay. Not anytime soon, but there's
I can pretty much access any book I want because I know the right website.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Where's his like so here's the rules for it. Power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. Correct? Bluffing in poker. 2, never go outside the experience of your people. Yep, that's a good one. Don't like tell other people that you know more about their group if you're not part of that group. Whenever possible, go outside the experience of the enemy. Same thing. This is the one. Make the enemy live up to its own book of rules. Here's cancel culture. Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. So anyway, this book was written in 1971. I wouldn't expect you have known this, but now that you've become aware of it, you gotta read it, or at least read the synopsis of it. Are you looking at it? Are you reading it right now? Oh, I almost missed Laughing Dog. The theft of my vote takes efforts on their part, therefore it still counts no matter what. That's actually really interesting. I see what you're saying. And again, that's why I don't believe it's all fake. If it was all fake, I just don't think there'd be all this ridiculous games going on. Excuse me. So yeah, Jack, I think I'm going to have to go back and watch some of the stuff you said with a bit more focus than I had while you were saying it. I didn't think I was quite ready for the level you just dropped on us.
Oh, thanks.
And Danny also. Danny's at, I don't want to dox his personal interests, but he's out of town. Mihaly is out of town. So anyway, I am running out of thoughts immediately about this. It was nice to kind of, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the next logical conversation we can have is how can we improve existing how can we improve upon the existing voting process in the United States? Because the topic is voting, and I have a number of thoughts of what we can do.
Hit us with them.
Okay, so first of all, the obvious one is just get a national voter ID. It makes no sense for us to not have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Dems don't really have any arguments against it. Like polling for having a national voter ID.
I don't mean to cut you. The efficiency that could be achieved with a single sort of identification thing that just qualifies you as like an adult. Is that, I guess that's what you're talking about, but like what?
Yeah.
I don't want to have a driver's license and a voter ID and fucking this and that. Well, I want one goddamn card that is like really hard to get and fake or whatever. Maybe it needs to be on a blockchain.
Maybe.
I don't know, but go ahead. So idea number one, I'm already voting for you. What are your other ones?
Yeah. Well, but like to finish off that point,
sorry.
like a lot of Dems like pretend that they think that when people suggest a national voter ID, that it's an effort to disenfranchise like black voters. Like according to them,
because they don't know how to get IDs.
They just think that they're retarded.
Yeah,
like,
it's the real racism is
insulting.
Yeah, that's racist. Yeah. I think black people are too dumb to get an ID.
Yeah, the real reason is that they know that people that vote for them like cheat. That they can scam the election. So they want people they want them to be as insecure as possible. Yeah, but the next idea I have is something that's sort of like on the left, that's promoted on the left as something. However, there are conditions for it, and that is to make an election day a national holiday, not an election month, mind you, just an election day. However, I'm willing to like adopt that, but on the conditions that we get rid of early voting, don't have any mass mail-in ballots, and end ballot drop boxes. Because if you have an entire national holiday to vote, you don't need those things. Like, it's completely unnecessary. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, John?
I'm letting it percolate.
Yeah, but there are instances where you can justify mail-in ballots, but I would say that those like should be reserved for people like reserved as a privilege. Say like U.S. soldiers overseas. Or maybe even like actual people who are like doing important jobs like that require them to be.
Yeah, there's gonna be people that just have every right to vote and won't, for whatever reason, be physically present, and service members are a good one.
Yeah, but the problem with it, though, is that a lot of people are implementing it to just be lazy. Just are lazy, not because they actually need to do it. And the Dems pushed it as sort of they pushed it heavily during COVID, even though it's just massively insecure in practice, and like as a way of saying like, we need to have mail-in ballots, because if we don't, then your grandma will literally crumble to dust once she gets to the ballot box. Like that's bullshit. Again, it's just to scam people, to scam the elections. And
maybe a subdermal microchip. Yeah. So keep going. Sorry. Go.
Yeah. Like my last sort of proposal is to ban electronic voting and to go back to paper ballots, and to have it like overseen by partisans or the military workers. Because think about it, like electronic voting, we objectively know are insecure. Like they are susceptible to like power outages. They are susceptible to foreign, like a worst case scenario, they're susceptible to like foreign interference. And we have video evidence of just mass glitches on election days. You don't have these problems with paper ballots. Just put it in, and that's it. And you have like, provided you have someone actually looking at the ballot boxes, it shouldn't be a problem.
Even like in a way, like say your vote got lost, like you would have some data. Even with paper ballots, you could have a database of who did and didn't vote. And you would have some way of yourself, like people should be able to self-verify their votes. And so you go like, oh, my paper ballot wasn't there. And they say, well, you can't create a new one because, there's no record of what you voted. But that wouldn't matter because like, why would you change your fucking vote? And so if your name is not registered as voted, and you go in there, you'd have to go in with your fucking face. Like, it's reproducible. If you lose your ballot, you can still reproduce the vote. That's what I'm getting at, because you show up in person and be like, "No, I voted for Trump." Like, there's nothing bad. I can see nothing bad about paper ballots, is what I'm getting at. Just nothing.
The bottom line is, if you want me to believe your election tallies, don't enable systems that are easily cheated. Like, make it single day, make it in-person voting, have paper ballots with an ID, with bipartisan counting, and anything that doesn't implement those things is just fake to me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not gonna respect the results if these things aren't implemented.
Yeah, and I mean, we have the means now, even without, like, the blockchain is, if decent people regain control of the planet, I think voting will be done by blockchain. But nothing's perfect. Nothing can be a substitute for your own physical face and your hand signing a physical piece of paper. I mean,
yeah. And Joel, it's not that I think that government agents.
Joel's raging. Let him rage.
Are objective. You can have so. Fine, like get rid of
he's being ideal.
Workers.
He's being idealist.
Have like party partisans from both sides. Like have both like a partisan Republican and a partisan Democrat, partisan Independent, like whatever. Like oversee everything.
Let me read it. Precinct judges retain all ballots in the Yeah, Pick This. I think has thought about this quite a bit and probably has amazing ideas as well. Not making fun of you, Joel. It's just like, I get where you're coming from and your frustration. It's just, it can't be changed with a flip of a switch. It's how you lose. You can't control, like, there is the whole idea of the blockchain came out of this need for, like, how do we create a system or a ledger of tracking things that people can't fucking lie about? But you still can, right? I mean, in some ways, all this voting stuff, what we're really talking about is, like, what is a perfect encryption? The validity of the vote. Is it better to encrypt your vote in a paper ballot? Is it better to encrypt your vote on the blockchain? It's obviously terrible to encrypt your vote in a fucking Dominion voting machine. But that, in my opinion, that's what we're fucking trying to start to think about and I think using the right words matters. So, like, how do you encrypt, using that word, cryptography or whatever, maybe, your vote that it can't be cheated? And then you might very well realize it's not possible. And I think the founding fathers, to some degree, did all of this computer science, although they didn't think of it as such, and they came to the conclusion that there is no perfect system, and sooner or later, what is it? The tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's it's a comment on there is no perfect system, or it's a comment on humans can't make a perfect system, maybe. Maybe we'll be usurped by Elon Musk's AI agents, and they'll go off into the stars having a great time without us. I don't know, but I think you should keep thinking about that. Like, how do you make it perfect? How do you make it uncheatable? Can you make it uncheatable? I don't know the answer. I think it's interesting to think about. Joel Mackey, here he is. You want to fix voting, you have to be able to punish people that break the rules. Until that happens, I'm 100% with you on that one.
Yeah,
I didn't see all the other.
Not off the table.
Yeah, that's a huge fucking problem. Nobody ever gets in trouble for anything. Well, it's because their buddies are the enforcers, right? So you need to somehow. Here's another thought, Jack. Like, in a way, there almost needs to be some religious order of like Amish type weirdo priests, and their only job and function is to objectively count the vote. They live in some little shack, and the trade-off is you're never allowed to talk to or whatever, but the power you get out of that is you get handed a fucking stack of votes, and only your little secret group gets to count. I don't know. I feel that probably did happen in the past. It's encryption. It's just another kind of encryption. It's a different blockchain. Yeah. But if you could get people that were somehow truly not invested in the outcome, the people out there that just love counting votes, like that, they just popped out of the womb and they're like, damn, I want to count votes for the rest of my life. They're out there. Yeah. And if you'd find them and put them in charge, you might have a good run too. I don't know. Do you think, do you think it can be done?
I think it can be done. Yeah, like a lot of countries, like first world countries, like obviously not third world shitholes, like they look at us in embarrassment, like they're confused at how we conduct our elections. Like they have a lot of them have national voter ID laws. None of them really implement mail-in ballots to the degree that we do it. So we're just kind of allowing like fraud to run amok, and it's unacceptable.
Yeah, and I mean, Joel, to your point too, is all the other changes you're suggesting will not work if there are no punishments. That's maybe the most fundamental one. Like, and that was kind of what I was giving you a hard time in a fun way about, which is if you don't have punishments behind all those changes that you'd like to make, they won't work. And I know you know that.
Yeah.
And I know it's fucking stupid and how stupid this all is. But you sounded like you had a thought, Jack.
No, like I said before, like obviously you need to punish people who break the rules. Like, and I'm definitely for having harsher punishments. That's definitely true. But I guess we could, like, how do you incentivize people to not try and commit fraud? Like, not try.
Well, I mean, to me, it's like,
Yeah, because we're increasingly becoming more and more radical. To the sense that people think like people are of the mentality that if this election, if their party doesn't win this election, then everything is over. It's why you have like certain people like calling others Nazis, like say like it's how you get
Sure.
these high voter turnouts in the first place.
well, so that's here we are on the right trying to, how do we have a fair election? Do you think the left has any interest in ever figuring out an answer to that? Ever?
No.
Yeah, I think it's like the grift with the abortions you're talking about. That is their business model. They're not interested in finding a way to vote. It would totally blow up the way they make money and have power.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's worth thinking about is in any society you live in, are you going to have a big group of people that are just going to be like that? I mean, that's cancer, isn't it? Isn't that what cancer is? It comes from within the body, but it starts growing out of control on its own because it doesn't give a shit if it's killing the larger body or not. It just wants to be as big as whatever. I mean, that's a loose poetic metaphor, but yeah, it seems like every time that if you want to call a country or a government a body and it starts to grow, then it will become cancerous. And you either just let it die or you got to cut out the cancer. I mean, is it I know this can't work with damn near half the country just not wanting to find a way to not cheat. They obviously have no interest in it. I think the end of that logical path is that those two groups can't be in the same country. And why would you try?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, there's a peaceful split or balkanization or something like that I guess could happen, or probably but I mean, that's happened before too. It's happened with our own damn country, with the North and South. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, I guess. I don't have an answer, but there's two ways of saying no. It came to me. I think I've brought it together. There's two ways to troll somebody with don't vote. Voting isn't worth it. Voting is pointless. And the one we see now is that your vote won't count because of all the cheating or corruption, or like, you know, the elites will just pick whoever they want to win. So that's why you shouldn't vote. But what a totally different but sounds exactly the same that is almost just occurred to me would be what the accelerationists would want, which is, yeah, I ain't fucking voting. I want this fire to start.
I want the rest of society to burn so my ideology can bring at the top.
I don't necessarily. I think there are those people too. But like, if you believe in what you look out and see out into the future, and you know it's going down, and that there's going to have to be a crash and then a rebuild, why not sooner rather than later?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, for the people that say it's all corrupt, well, voting for Trump or Kamala is the equivalent of not voting, so you might as well vote then. But, yeah, voting may count, but not voting will never count. Except in the idea of like, I'm not voting because I think it's corrupt. I'm not voting because I want to fight. Yeah, I want to fight. All right, that's it. That's my final thought on that. I would not call myself an accelerationist. I think those people are trolls for the most part also.
Yeah.
Also, but let me go back here. We're about there, Jack. Any final thoughts? Spit them out here. I'm going to read the chat for some comments.
Yeah. Oh, I pretty much said it. If you want me to take your your election seriously, you need to, or ballot counting seriously, you need to properly make sure that they're secured. If you're pro-life, you need to keep in mind that in order for your issue to, in order for the Republicans to properly take note of your position, you need to actually make your voice heard and that you can only accomplish that by voting. That's the most important thing you can do. Other than that, you can organically learn to how to become a better activist, educate people better on the issue, etc.
Lord of the Ree, the U.S. government is like a brain tumor that somehow makes you a super genius. You want it there, but you chemo its ass into remission and keep it small and benign. That's fucking interesting, too. A little bit of tumor that you want a little bit of. That is it. I'm out of ideas. None of them were good anyway. But I enjoyed here. You're starting to really let your actual thoughts come out of your mouth, Jack, and people are enjoying it. You're just going to get better and better and better at this. Yeah. Oh, smile, man. Let it feel good. And then, trust me, not too long from now, you're going to get really pissed about something, and you're going to get a bunch of shit in the chat, too. And then it'll go the other way. Yeah. And that'll just go on forever. That's the way it appears to work. But awesome thoughts from you today. Thank you for joining me remotely. The other two guys had weekend commitments. Final studio update is that we had an extra week added because of code issues. So we are hoping right now, schedule-wise, to do our first broadcast out of the new studio 1 week from this coming Sunday.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we were hoping to do, we're still hoping to do content earlier than that out of the studio. We're going to be in there before Sunday, but we're not going to have the set built right away. So that is my next week, building out the set. We'll keep everybody posted. Maybe I'll run down there and snap some more photos or something and post those. But thank you for everybody who joined us. And thank you for some of the heated and interesting discussion chat. It was good to have you as always. Lord of the Ree, great comments. Pictish, I see you getting excited there. Just say when and where. I'll follow you down to, I can't say where you are. Jack has a good take on the world, says Williams Channel. Mitchell McNeely, welcome back. Oh, Insidious Anti-Mason, I don't think I called you out, but it's glad to see you. Juan Ramirez, Patrick Ancona, good to have you back. Mod My Mind, Rupert Fellows.
Yeah, thank you all for the positive comments. I appreciate it.
Got a lot of them, man. Got a lot. Mr. Smith, 118, there he is. Have you got a sign-off of some sort, Jack? Do you have a catchphrase yet?
No, I still haven't come up with one.
You shouldn't. I hate him so much. I hate it so much because every show, Jack, I got to do this stupid thing and go, that's it for today.
Yeah. Last time I was on, you guys seemed to like the
this fucking
jacking off. Like you like that one.
Oh yeah, fuck, I forgot about that. Yeah, where you just made up that. Yeah, so this is where's our fucking names, man? Jack Kentner jacking off. And I am John Warren. That is it for today. Until next time, remember, you're a world champion. I never make the damn outro video, Jack. That's all right. It's the final week of this. You are a world champion. Don't let your memes be